Washoe County Library System welcomes you to our monthly series from Nevada Historical Society, presents High Noon with Neil Cobb. This afternoon's topic is about Backstage Pass, Behind the Scenes and Seams When Hollywood Came to Reno, presented by Karen Burns. My name is Samantha, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. And now I'd like to introduce Sherry Hayes-Zorn with the Nevada Historical Society. Again, welcome and thank you.
Hi, Samantha, and thank you so much. As always, we want to thank everybody for attending today's program. And we have such a wonderful partnership with the Washoe County Library System. And it's really made such a big difference from COVID to now, being able to create and broadcast these wonderful programs and get speakers from around the state as well. But we have a special local person today, and I know many people love this story. So without further ado, let me introduce our amazing host, Neil Cobb, who is our honorary curator of history and has been such a longtime supporter for the Nevada Historical Society. And without further ado, Neil, let me introduce Neil Cobb. Hello, Neil. How are you today?
Doing great, and thank you, Sherry. Our speaker today, Karen Burns, has done quite a few different things in this area. Going all the way back, she was a ski instructor and the ski patrol. She wound up being a trained dancer, then a producer. Went to college right here in the state of Nevada, graduated, and is currently a teacher with certification in 4 or 5 different things, English and dance, and it goes so on and so on. But she's wound up being a caretaker and a preservationist, and she is also wound up being a very good historical researcher. And the entertainment industry has got so much to offer, so much color, so much talent, and she just happens to be a major part of it. So at this time, please welcome Karen Burns.
Okay. Again, thank you. When Hollywood Came to Reno, Behind the Scenes and Seams, featuring costumes from the world famous Reno MGM show, Hello Hollywood, Hello. This area, Northern Nevada, from Virginia City, Lake Tahoe, Reno Sparks at one time was considered one of the entertainment capitals of the world, not just the nation, the world. And yes, this was before Las Vegas. There's a connection with thousands of the biggest names that will ever be in entertainment history, both on stage and on screen. Just a few of the famous theaters, showrooms, and cabaret: Virginia City, Piper's Opera House; Harrah's Lake Tahoe, South Shore Room; Calneva Lake Tahoe, the Sinatra Showroom; Reno, the Mape Sky Room; Harold's Club Cabaret; Harrah's Reno, Sammy Davis Showroom; the Sparks Nugget, which was a circus and celebrity showroom; and then, of course, the MGM Reno, former Ziegfeld Theater. It's currently the Grand Sierra Resort, and the list goes on and on and on. We have a thriving arts and cultural community here because of all the amazing talent that came to our area through literally hundreds of shows. And I just want to do a big shout out, thank you to Neil Cobb. Hi there, Neil, the Nevada Historical Society. Hi, Sherry, and the Washoe County Library System for your interest in this opportunity. Thank you. Hollywood and costume connections. Behind the scenes, a very brief historical perspective. Behind the seams, all about the costumes, because costumes and clothes tell stories. Clothes are the fabrics of our lives, reason we wear what we wear. Costumes create the characters both on stage and on screen and weave their stories. Almost all actors and performers say that they didn't really find or know their characters, or plural, until they put on their costumes. From a couple of the slides that I'll be showing of celebrities, you might already know who the star is just because of what they are wearing. First one, Charlie Chaplin, considered one of the most important figures in the history of the film industry, with a career that spanned over 75 years. Chaplin became a worldwide icon in his 1915 silent film, The Little Tramp, with his signature persona wearing his iconic signature costume. And there he is. As soon as that comes up, because of what he's wearing, everybody knows it's Charlie Chaplin. Now, Charlie Chaplin and Truckee. Chaplin created the 1925 movie, The Gold Rush, about a lonely prospector fighting adversary and looking for love. Chaplin was inspired by the 1898 Klondike Gold Rush, plus the story of the 1846 Donner Party. Chaplin began filming the movie in February 1924 at a cost of $1 million, which is incredible in 1925, included location shooting in the Truckee Mountains. We know where Truckee is. 600 extras, extravagant sets, etc. But as we all know, bad weather in this area forced the filming to go back to Hollywood. The Gold Rush is considered the quintessential, how do you say that word?
Quintessential.
Thank you. Chaplin film. Chaplin later said it was the picture he would most like to be remembered for. And here are some of my favorites. Look at this. There's Charlie Chaplin. You can see those mountains in Truckee right there. And again, these are officially, that's the real Charlie Chaplin there during filming. This Charlie Chaplin costume is from the finale of MGM Hello Hollywood Hello. The Charlie Chaplin costume came out and made an appearance. Next famous one, of course, Marilyn Monroe arriving in Reno, Nevada, 1960 to start filming The Misfits. MGM movie, The Misfits was the last film for both Clark Gable and Marilyn Monroe. And to me, this is just mind-boggling in some way that the world premiere was in downtown Reno in 1961, as you can see on here, the Granada Movie Theater, world premiere. This is probably one of Marilyn's, or the most iconic costume from Marilyn Monroe from 1953, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, where she was singing Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. Here's the Marilyn Monroe costume created by the MGM Hello Hollywood wardrobe staff. Pretty good copy. And I have to throw this in, of course, of history of Levi jeans. 1853, Levi Strauss arrives in San Francisco to open a wholesale dry goods. 1872, Jacob Davis, a Reno, Nevada tailor, writes to Strauss, telling him that he has a process that he has invented to rivet the pocket corners on men's pants to make them stronger, which Davis invented to help make the local Nevada miners' pants stronger and last longer. Davis suggests that the two men take out a patent together on the process, which happened May 20th, 1873, with that patent number. I won't read it. And this was the invention of the blue jeans. It took traditional men's work pants and riveted them, creating the new category of workwear, which we call blue jeans. And here we have the historical plaque in front of the former location of Jacob Davis tailor shop and residence right here in Reno at 211 North Virginia Street. And then keeping with Marilyn Monroe and now jeans, Marilyn's so-called tomboyish style in the 1961 Misfit movie made her one of the first women of Hollywood stars to demonstrate the appeal of jeans. Not jeans, but pants were not worn by women in the 60s, but here's Marilyn wearing Levi's in the movie and made it very popular for women to wear jeans. Sammy Davis Jr. performed so many times at Harrah's Reno that after his passing in 1991, the showroom was renamed Sammy's Showroom. And here we are with a couple of the MGM showgirls in front of Sammy's showroom, and note the celebrity postcards. They're on the wall there. And Sammy Davis Jr., age 3, he began his career in vaudeville with his father and the Will Matson Trio, performing as well as the Will Matson Trio. During the 1960 Squaw Valley Winter Olympics, Sammy Davis Jr. and the Will Matson Trio played in the top floor of the former Reno Mapes Sky Room. In the early 60s, Sammy Davis Jr. joined Sinatra, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Peter Lawford, and Joey Bishop, and the group collectively became known as the Rat Pack. And his #1 hit, The Candyman, was with MGM Records. And then here's Bill Hare and Sammy Davis Jr. This is the National Automobile Museum, the Hare collection, that we were doing a tribute to Sammy Davis. And this is Sammy Davis's car in the back. And here's, again, presenting Sammy Davis's car. Speaking of Bill Hare is largely the main person responsible for first making Reno Tahoe famous for entertainment with the thousands of stars and shows that performed at his casino. I had the opportunity to personally meet Bill Hare, plus between Harrah's Reno and Harrah's Lake Tahoe, I worked in a couple of cabaret shows, then collaborated. Sorry about that. Let me take a quick sip here. Little water, thank you. That collaborated on hundreds of promotions, marketing, events, and convention shows. The most recent connection was with the National Automobile Museum, the Harrah Collection. Always got to throw that in celebration of Bill Harrah's 110th birthday by providing a costume that was used in a Harrah's marketing ad. It was even on a billboard. Here it is. And I won't read all the bottom here, but Harrah's new billboards, and they were watched along Highway 50 and Interstate 80. And oh, there's my pink showgirl costume. And there the costume is with Bill Harrah in the back with all the celebrity postcards. And again, celebrating his 110th birthday. Speaking of celebrity postcards, John Asquaga's Nugget, since we're acknowledging and also acknowledging a couple of our founding fathers of Reno Tahoe Casino and Entertainment. Another one would be John Asquaga, the Nugget. For over 40 plus years, I had a personal connection with the Nugget, starting as a bus girl in the coffee shop, then putting myself through college at the University of Nevada, Reno by being a waitress in the Circus Celebrity Showroom, and then later creating events and shows. And this is one of my favorite pictures because there's Stephen and John Asquaga in the picture. My most recent connection to the Nugget was facilitating the move of the Circus Celebrity postcard sign that adorned the entrance to the showroom and is now located at the Sparks Museum and Cultural Center. The sign featured postcards of some of the most famous stars, act, and shows in show business for almost 50 years. And this was the show that opened it. And we did it on the opening day, 60 days later. Here it is. This is the sign. And again, I can just spend hours looking at all the stars that are on these postcards. And again, it's now located at the Sparks Museum and Cultural Center. And again, that's Stephen Asquaga there when we dedicated the sign. And of course, Elvis, who's one of the biggest stars ever. 1976, Elvis at the Reno Centennial Coliseum, now the Convention Center, in concert. And here we are, Reno Centennial Coliseum. Oh, $15 tickets, $12 tickets. Elvis. Elvis appeared at Sahara Lake Tahoe High Sierra Theater. There are the dates, I won't read them all, giving a total of 98 sold out performances. I attended 2 of these Elvis's concerts, and I donated the memorabilia to the National Automobile Museum. And this album, if you can see, look down at the bottom, was recorded live, 1971. Oh, recorded at Sahara Tahoe, Elvis himself. And again, anybody that you recognize by what he's wearing, it's Elvis. And here's Elvis's car at the Automobile Museum, and we were doing a tribute to Elvis. Now we go. Hello, Hollywood, hello. The MGM Grand Hotel Reno proudly presents Don Arden's Hello, Hollywood, hello, a tribute to the magic world of movies that was actually on the program. It was presented in the Ziegfeld Theater on the Ziegfeld stage with a salute to MGM musicals. It was really a combination of 3 gentlemen's visions. The first one, Florenz Ziegfeld, Broadway producer. Louis B. Mayer, MGM Hollywood movie mogul. Don Arden, Nevada connection. First, Florenz Ziegfeld. Florenz Ziegfeld is so important in the world of entertainment because he is sometimes referred to as the man who invented modern day show business. He produced shows for 36 years from 1896 to 1932. Literally thousands of very famous and well-known people connected to Ziegfeld. I won't read them all, but prominent composers from Ivan Berlin, Gershwin, well-known stars, Fred Astaire, W.C. Fields, on and on. With the costume connection is Erte, famous costume designer. We'll talk about that more. The very famous dance designer, choreographer, Busby Berkeley, that he's the one that created the overhead shots that are still used today of dancers making patterns on the floor. That's when Bugsy Berkeley starred with Ziegfeld. Ziegfeld, known mostly for Ziegfeld Follies, 1907 to 1931. Ziegfeld was inspired to create his follies after seeing the Folies Bergère in Paris. In fact, his first wife, Anna Held, was the one that suggested American Follies. And kind of an interesting side note here that his second wife, Billie Burke, played the Good Witch in Wizard of Oz. Yeah, that was Ziegfeld's second wife. Ziegfeld Follies extravaganzas, elaborate costumes and sets, but most importantly, featured gorgeous women, glorifying the American girl equals showgirls. For 24 years, the Ziegfeld girls were some of the most famous and sought after women in the world. And showgirls on stage and screen is considered an art form. It's the classic showgirls are a celebration of the human body. My definition of a showgirl, any girl who performs in any show, on any stage or screen at any time equals a showgirl, a girl in the show. And I actually was never an official showgirl in the Hello Hollywood Hello show, but rather a chorus dancer. But according to my own definition, then I guess I was a showgirl. And here we have it, Ziegfeld Follies, glorifying the American girl. 110 in the entourage. That's a lot of people. Again, glorifying the American girl. That was his trademark. Now we're going to MGM, Metro Goldwyn Mayer. Ars Gratias Arts, I'm not great at Latin, but where it says in the logo there, that's Latin for art's sake. I always love that about MGM, art for art's sake. They thought they were creating art. Louis B. Mayer. Hollywood heydays and the golden age of the MGM movie studios. Louis B. Mayer, the head of MGM Movie Studio for almost 30 years. L.B. Mayer was famous for saying, make it big and do it right. And he started show business career when he opened his first Nickelodeon in 1907, same year Ziegfeld did his first Follies. MGM, the Dream Factory. MGM founded in 1924, entertainment entrepreneur Marcus Lowe gained control of Metro, Goldwyn, and Louis B. Mayer Pictures. From the onset, MGM Movie Studio tapped into what was believed audiences' need for, I love this, sophistication and glamour. MGM dominated the film industry in the 1930s, 40s, and early 50s because of the quality of movies and the numbers of movies made in 1930. And I can't believe this. In 1930, over 50 films a year were made, almost one a week were produced. Impossible. But mostly the star power of all the famous MGM stars, which was called the Dream Factory, with the MGM Hollywood star system. The famous MGM boast was that MGM had more stars than there are in the heavens. Head of MGM Movie Studio, Louis B. Mayer, was very impressed by Florenz Ziegfeld, so much so that MGM produced 3 films in the tribute to Florenz Ziegfeld. Here's the first one, 1936, The Great Ziegfeld. 1941, The Ziegfeld Girl, which had Judy Garland in it. And then MGM Ziegfeld Follies. And I love the back here, at the bottom here, it says, greatest production since the birth of motion pictures. That's not too much of a selling point, right? Greatest production. MGM gets involved with casinos. MGM started fading in the 60s due to people's changing tastes along with the popularity of television. Plus the big productions and big budget movies just became too expensive to make. So in 1969, Nevada millionaire Kirk Kerkorian purchased MGM Movie Studios. What appealed to Kerkorian was the value at that time of 45 years worth of glamour associated with the MGM name, which he attached to 2 Nevada hotel casinos, one in Las Vegas and one in Reno. And then that's how Debbie Reynolds, MGM movie star, most known for appearing in Singing in the Rain with Gene Kelly, had the opportunity to buy many original MGM movie costumes. And here's Debbie Reynolds with Gene Kelly, Donna O'Connor, and Singing in the Rain. One of the highlights of my career was having the opportunity to work with Miss Debbie Reynolds. Again, from Singing in the Rain, many times listed as one of the top 10 movies ever to be made. Reynolds was trying to save her collection of MGM costumes, as I mentioned, that she acquired when land developer Kerkorian purchased MGM. And here we are with Miss Reynolds with the MGM costumes around her. Debbie Reynolds with just 4 of her famous costumes from Hello Dolly, Sound of Music, Wizard of Oz, and My Fair Lady. So here she is. And again, Debbie Reynolds was my main inspiration to try to preserve the costumes from MGM Hello Hollywood Hello. Yeah, she's my inspiration. Back to MGM stage shows. Kerkorian hired Don Arden to produce lavish stage shows based on classic MGM Hello Hollywood Hello musicals. Arden paid tribute to both MGM Louis B. Mayer and Florenz Ziegfeld by creating the show Hello Hollywood Hello, a tribute to the magic world of movies, plus again naming the showroom at the Reno MGM Grand the Ziegfeld Theater, plus the stage the Ziegfeld Stage. Wow, talk about a tribute to Ziegfeld. Hello, Hollywood, hello. When it opened, it was billed as the biggest show in the world, appearing on the biggest stage in the world, and it was in the biggest little city in the world. Yes, Reno. It was a big deal. And here's the official program, which I've already read, and a promotional MGM Grand Hotel with the famous lion, Leo the Lion. And here's Don Arden. Don Arden, MGM shows. He produced Hallelujah Hollywood in Las Vegas, MGM, 1974 and 1980. Hello Hollywood Hello opened in Reno on June 2nd, 1978. It played for 11 years, closing on April 21st, 1989. There were 6,941 shows performed to an audience of over 7 million people. This next year, 2023, will be the 45th anniversary of Hello Hollywood Hello. His other show, Jubilee, opened in 1981, played for 35 years and closing in 2016. It was the longest running stage show in Las Vegas, plus the last authentic showgirl review in Las Vegas. But Don Arden is a very important name in Nevada history, so much so he is credited with ushering in the iconic Nevada, Las Vegas, Reno big lavish stage show. Plus, he is regarded as one of the 100 most influential people in Nevada. Whew. The lights on the Las Vegas Strip were dimmed in his honor when he passed in 1994. And here, that's Don Arden there with the opening numbers of the opening number showgirl costumes. And oh, it's on the plane there. He's actually on the Ziegfeld stage. And here's another marketing promotion of him, Don Arden. Miss Bluebell. To create his shows, Don Arden partnered with Margaret Kelly. They met in 1947 while working in the Lido in Paris. Miss Bluebell's nickname was for her intense blue eyes. She's best known for creating the famous Bluebell Girls Dancing Troupe in 1932. 76 years later, the Bluebells were still dancing at the Lido in Paris with the Kelly boys using her last name. Sadly, the Lido just closed this last year. And here are the geniuses: Margaret Kelly, Miss Bluebell, and Don Arden. Miss Bluebell and some showgirls dancers. MGM Hello Hollywood Hello, again, the biggest show in the world. There were 142 performers. We had a whole little city backstage. 54 wardrobe staff just to take care of the costumes. 60 stage crew and 18 band members. It's a lot of people, plus hundreds of showroom staff, especially for the full dinner shows. My personal connection is that I was a dancer in the show for almost 2 years. And then I had the unprecedented opportunity in 1994 to buy almost all of the 1,392 costumes that were used in the show. So my mission, or my claim to fame and my mission, is to share and save these costumes. So where the thread of the story continues. Now, the historical value of the MGM Hello Hollywood Hello show costumes. The costumes are so extraordinary that the Costume Society of America once did a formal study of the collection, an honor usually reserved for museum pieces. These MGM costumes have been featured in numerous museum and historical society exhibits. Again, thank you, Nevada Historical Society, Sherry, Neil Cobb, for continued interest and support, plus many, many collaborations. The Hello Hollywood Hello costumes have received quite a bit of press, even since I have owned them. Most notably, the New York Times. The reporter told me that through her thorough research that I just might own one of the largest private collections of vintage stage costumes in the world. I'm still like, wow, really? 2 proclamations. There are 2 Hello Hollywood Hello days. The first one, June 2nd, 1988, and the second was June 24th, 2018. Yeah, two Hello Hollywood Hello days, proclamations. I've received senatorial and congressional recognition for saving those fabulous MGM costumes, which I so appreciate. Recognition of your extraordinary private collection of original vintage costumes. Thank you for sharing the fascinating history of costumes from the world famous MGM Hello Hollywood Hello stage show. Thank you, Congress. And this was another historic preservation award. And here we are. This is how the show was advertised. This is the outside of the then MGM. And I loved how they used the staircase and put the dancers coming down. Another postcard, advertising. And now we're going to be flipping through these quite fast because I have so many pictures to show. The original MGM sign, Don Arden's Hello Hollywood, 2 shows nightly, 8 p.m. dinner show and midnight cocktail show. It ran 7 nights a week. We worked 6 nights a week with 1 night off where someone was called a swing dancer came in and took our spot, but 7 nights a week. Entertainment cover, I'm going to be talking about the emerald green dress there and the Tiller costume. This was from the finale. MGM, excuse me, Reno. Hello, Reno, hello. Backstage at the world's largest show. And this was the, yeah, this picture, you might look a little bit familiar, but that was the earthquake in San Francisco on stage.
Earthquake and fire, yeah.
There you go. The world's biggest show. The chorus line kicks up on the world's largest stage. And here, the most famous, the airplane. There it is. Hello Hollywood Hello airplane modeled off a DC-8. It was built in Las Vegas in 1977 at a local shop with the members of the IATSE 720 Union. It was not a real airplane, which a lot of people thought. No, it was a mock-up of one. But there was a real MGM plane flying one time. And here it is arriving. And on the wings, we have, they were called stewardesses back then in the 70s. We have 12 stewardesses riding the wings of the airplane. It's still so incredibly impressive to open up a show with an airplane. And here it is again. MGM Grand Hotel, Reno built a stage big enough for a plane, then landed its jet. And this is actually in Time magazine, this article. And at the bottom is Don Arden posing, and there it is, yeah, Time magazine. This is, again, I'm just flipping through here, another great picture of the stage, and this was a passerella that actually was lowered over the audience. This is, we'll be talking more about the San Francisco Nob Hill costumes. One of my favorite pictures, because, oh, look at all those costumes lined up there. Amazing. MGM Couture Costume Pedigree. The costumes were designed by well-known and award-winning costume designers Bill Campbell and Pete Menefee. No expense spared attitude. That doesn't happen these days. As performers, we averaged at least nine costume changes per show. So again, 1,392 costumes with many, many, many accessories. There were 7 costume companies involved in creating the costumes, 4 Hollywood movie and TV costume houses. And again, in Hollywood, Elizabeth Courtney, J&M Costumes, Fantasy Fair, and NBC Wardrobe. 2 New York Broadway costume houses, Eve's Costumes and Grace Costume House, and 1 Paris famous costume house, Mel Petit. All the feathers were imported from Paris, France. And this is, to me, mind-boggling that every single sparkly on the costume, all the rhinestones are authentic Austrian Swarovski crystals. Yes. Allegedly, this created a worldwide shortage of rhinestones and feathers. Costume designer Bill Campbell, brilliant and accomplished costume designer Bill Campbell, he created the costumes for the first half of Hello Hollywood Hello. Most notably, he won a 20th Daytime Emmy Award for creating costumes for Disney World on Parade. And he also did the costumes for 1981 movie Arthur. And again, much to read, but he's amazing, amazing. And dressing up for the big show. There are many, many articles written on the costumes. And here it says, Campbell and Menefee met for the first time May 1977 when the creator of Don Arden brought them together to discuss his new show. And here we go. Building or constructing costumes. That's what we talk about them. Not sewing or making, building or constructing, because these costumes are so involved. Engineering feat. There was a total of 39 body measurements taken for the female performers. I didn't know we had that many body measurements. 28 measurements for the males, 4 head measurements just for the headpieces and hats, and 10 measurements, including an actual outline drawing of the feet. Yes, everything was custom made for the original cast. 900 pairs of custom handmade leather shoes designed and made by 3 footwear manufacturers, Hollywood Fabrizio, New York Cabizio, and Paris Clavoy. And here's, again, my favorite picture that opened this, and we'll be closing with it. This is actually the costumes on the wings of the airplane, and Don Arden himself picked out the costumes that he wanted featured in this photo shoot and was directing this shoot. Here we go, Hello Hollywood Hello, again, twice nightly in the Ziegfeld Theater. These were the blue sleeves costumes. All the costumes we had names for to make it go quickly, and because of the blue and white sleeves, we called this blue sleeves. Presentation of the MGM girls. And this picture, I must admit, it's kind of one of my favorites because I'm actually in this picture, and where I found this picture. Are you ready for this, locals? MGM Grand Hotel, Hello Hollywood Hello, Christmas 1979. Savers, $5.99. So that's where I found a picture of myself, finally famous at Savers for $5.99. And here we are again, blue sleeves. Hello, Reno, hello. On their toes, chorus line dancers. That's actually what it's changed to ballets. And here's an original sketch of blue sleeves. And there were 44 costumes. And here I am talking about blue sleeves with a model at the Historical Society. That's why I love bringing the actual costumes in. Oh, and here we are again. And I won't say each time, but the Historical Society when we had the actual costumes, blue sleeves. The McGuire sisters, singing trio in American popular music. And they appeared in Don Arne's Hello Hollywood Hello. And the opening number, again, was all done in blue and white. And the McGuire sisters, their original costumes for arriving on the MGM jet, I have them, their names still in them, Christine, Dorothy, and Phyllis, when they arrived on the jet wearing these costumes. Speaking of celebrities, other stars that appeared in Hello Hollywood Hello. Phyllis Diller, Suzanne Summer, and I like how they always say starring in Don Arne's Hello Hollywood Hello. Charo, Jim Neighbors, Carol Channing, and The Fifth Dimension. MGM, sophistication and glamour. Again, that's what MGM was about. So part of the opening number of Hello Hollywood Hello was the tribute to the famous dance team of all time, the epitome of sophistication and glamour, Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. They met in 1934 when they teamed to make their first starring role in the movie The Gay Divorcee. And of course, Fred Astaire is always known for Top Hat. And what was one of the opening numbers? Top Hat, tribute to Fred Astaire. And there they are, Top Hat. I love the icon in the back with the top hat and cane. And here they are on stage. And here are the costumes. We're doing a Hollywood tribute. Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. Glamour, glamour. This was the opening number where that was actually Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers projected and dancing on the screen. And the singers were singing a tribute to them. And there are other stars are listed, or photos on the side there. And here are the singers' costumes that they wore. Very, very Ginger Rogers. And here was a tribute, again, to Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. These were the night and day costumes. These costumes, dresses, I always liked when people have these, you know, I have them giving presentations. These dresses weigh 12 pounds, 12 pounds of Swarovski rhinestone crystals. That's why they're sparkling so much. Unbelievable. Yeah, one of my favorites. The music that is Astaire, Star Time with Fred and Ginger. The Silver Screen Stars, classic Cole Porter song, was night and day. That's why the costumes were black dresses and white dresses for night and day. And here they are. Oh, just so gorgeous. And here we're doing a tribute to Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers. One more picture. See how big that stage is and with the feathered fans. And oh, the three costumes I just talked about, there they are. Scene 8 is hot, red, hot, and beautiful. MGM Hello Hollywood Hello featured gorgeous showgirls and elaborate costumes. The most notable was a red feathered costume worn during the performance of Heat Wave. That was a song sung by Marilyn Monroe in the movie No Business Like Show Business. And here it is on a billboard, MGM Grand. Again, it was used for so many advertisements. America's Greatest Show, Dinner and Cocktail. And Don Arne's Hello Hollywood Hello, this is the actual program. And the MGM logo, Leo the Lion, is set in the Heat Wave costume headpiece. If I take one costume to a presentation, it's always this Heat Wave because it's a big deal. And here is the actual drawing of it. Again, 1954, No Business Like Show Business, sung by Irving Berlin. And this Heat Wave costume was at the Las Vegas, Nevada State Museum showgirl wall for, I think I had it alone for about a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah, in their showgirl wall. And here's a copy of some of the dancers when we did a show. Oh, and there we are, the Reno Arch. And I love this one with the Reno PD. We did a river walk. The second production number, the MGM Hello Hollywood Hello show, was called San Francisco circa 1906. The entire three-part number from the Golden Gate Park, Crystal Palace Ballroom on Nob Hill, and the body Barbary coats were completely inspired by the 1936 MGM movie San Francisco, starring Clark Gable, Jeanette MacDonald, and Spencer Tracy. And here it is. Speaking of Clark Gable, Joe Cuccineo was the brilliantly talented tailor for Hello Hollywood Hello. He was so talented that he was Clark Gable's personal tailor in Hollywood, plus many other stars in Hollywood. And that's his label, Cuccineo. And actually, a niece of his has reached out. She's writing a book on him. He's incredible. But again, Clark Gable's personal tailor did Hello Hollywood Hello. And of course, his most famous film, Gone with the Wind. Act 3, San Francisco, circa 1906. Beautiful Golden Gate Park with its fad and fancies. One of my favorite costumes. And this, again, setting up the park scene. Look at how big. We actually called those the big hats. That's what they called it. And you can see why they're called the big hats. Here they are. And this is all from the San Francisco scene. And this is a show that we did in tribute to them. And I really like this one because you can see how big the hats are, because these gentlemen in these pictures are all over 6 feet tall with a top hat on. And look how much bigger the hats are than them. Again, that's why we called them San Francisco big hats. These were called the Sherberts. You can't really tell the colors here because, well, down at the bottom, because they all had lovely colors. And here's the details I'm talking about, a sherbet dress, just the construction of these with, you know, and I do those in my presentation that I go on and on about all the material, but of course we don't have time for that. And here, oh, new MGM celebrates New Year's 1984. And oh, there are the costumes. This was, of course, celebrating San Francisco in the park. San Francisco, Barbary Coast, rose petal costumes. They were called rose petals because this one, they have the props that are rose petal arches. And the only time that I've rented costumes was for the international Gucci clothing campaign that was marketing and advertising, celebrating vintage Hollywood. And these costumes that I rented to them, they're on the top of the Gucci ad. That was kind of exciting to see that in Vogue magazine and on other places. Hello Hollywood Hello. Again, this is from Nob Hill. World's most exciting show, Hello Hollywood Hello, MGM Grand Reno. San Francisco, this was Crystal Palace Ballroom on Nob Hill. We shortened it to Nob Hill. This was the original sketch for the Bluebell dancers, of which we were after Miss Bluebell. There were 30 costumes. And there it is, one of my all-time favorites, full on velvet. And then this is the Nob Hill male dancers, 14 dressers in the tuxedos. Here we are on the actual set. Again, Nevada Historical Society. There's the Nob Hill there, and then that's the old Barbary Coast one down at the bottom. Includes the Barbary Coast. Oh, and here's one from the show of doing the can-can. Have to have a can-can. The combination of the Nob Hill and the can-can. I think you were at that event. San Francisco earthquake, Don Dondero and Neil Cobb. Yeah, San Francisco earthquake, yeah. Pete Menefee is hired as the costume designer to do the second half of Hello Hollywood Hello. Very abbreviated resume, but hey, first it was a dancer in Bye Bye Birdie, then with Anne Margaret. Oh, appeared in Viva Las Vegas with Elvis Presley dancing next to him. He was in Mary Poppins and My Fair Lady, and then later was a dance with Anne Margaret. He's a 3-time Emmy Award-winning costume designer. And again, you can just see, I don't have time to read all this, but he is very, very, very impressive. He did Jubilee, Don Arden's show in Las Vegas with Bob Mackey, who I'll talk about, and of course, Hello Hollywood Hello, and then all these other ones that I don't have time, but he's worked with practically every star in the world. You can see the list in here, and I'm proud to say that he's one of my best friends now, and we kind of look like brother and sister, but we're best friends, and the stories he can tell about all the stars, oh my gosh. And here we are, we did a pop-up exhibit, and to have him tell the stories, oh my gosh. And amazing with all the stars. Now again, Hello Hollywood Hello opened in 1978. Act 4 of the show was supposed to be based on the 2 famous MGM Ben-Hur movies, but then Star Wars came out and literally changed everything, especially movie making history. And so again, you see these costumes, you know the characters. They're the original 3. And this is one of my favorite exhibits, Star Wars and the power of costumes that you can see down there. Star Wars and the power of costume. Oh yeah, powerful. So they changed it to Futuropolis, the space mobile landing in another world. That was the official name. The name allegedly was inspired by the 1927 movie Metropolis. And there it is. Metropolis, Futuropolis. That's a good one. Metropolis is a 1927 German film. Ach du liebe Ja, I'm German, by Fritz Lang. The silent film is regarded as a pioneering science fiction movie, being among the first featured length movies of the genre. And just an aside, another Nevada connection. There was a Metropolis in Nevada ghost town in Elko, Metropolis. And here's the opening, the astronauts landing. And here's the combination of the costumes from Futuropolis. And again, I won't give you all the details. And oh, here we go, Neil Cobb and Don Dundare, the opening of the space number. I actually wore the green costume there. The Amazon custodians, these costume pieces were first sculpted in clay. Then a plaster mold was made. The mold was placed in a vacuum press with PBS Kypec plastic, which is the same used for suitcases. And after being molded, the pieces were chromed in an auto body shop in Los Angeles. Here we go. And the one on the left is actually from Metropolis, which a little bit influenced and inspired the Amazons there. Oh, and here it is. It's one of my favorite costumes. And oh, I got to talk faster here. Check out the boots. And here's one of my favorite stories. Oh, and this one, Greg Hoff. Fantastic. And here they are. Oh, in the front of the MGM advertising the show, Starlight Launch. Now this one, I'll try to make this quick, but it's great. The Kiss costume connection is one of my favorite Hello Hollywood stories. This one is when the stars align, Kiss meets Hello Hollywood Hello. Bob Mackie on Las Vegas is closing the Don Arden show. Again, Jubilee is sometimes called the sister show of Hello Hollywood Hello. But I'm just saying Hello Hollywood was much, much bigger and better. Mackie did the finale costumes for Jubilee and Pete Menefee did all the rest. And here I am with Bob Mackie. What a thrill to meet him. Bob Mackey's best known for creating all the costumes for the Carol Burnett show. And of course, the biggest one is Cher. And I mean, Emmy Awards and Academy Awards. I mean, he's the most best known fashion designer now. Speaking of Cher, here comes the story. Cher and Gene Simmons were dating in the 70s. Gene Simmons wanted new costumes for Kiss. He asked Bob Mackie, of course, because he did all of Cher's costumes, to design them. And here they are, Gene Simmons with Cher and Bob Mackie with Cher. Bob Mackie said he was too busy to do the Kiss costumes, but suggested that Simmons contact his good friend and associate that Bob Mackie worked with for over 30 years, Pete Menefee, who had just designed costumes for the biggest show in the world, MGM Hello Hollywood Hello. And this is directly from Pete Menefee. Gene Simmons came to Reno to see Hello Hollywood Hello. What? Simmons liked what he saw, and Pete Menefee was hired to design the costumes for the Kiss 1979 Dynasty Tour. And there they are. And what was one of the influences? Well, here we go again. Was, oh, this costume on the left, that was a singer's costume in the show. And that's what Starman wore for Kiss. So we had a pop-up exhibit when Kiss was performing at the Nugget Event Center, because here's the inspiration. And currently right now at the Brewery Arts Center in Carson City, in conjunction with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, oh, there's the Kiss costume. Again, Pete Menefee design. It's like, oh my gosh. And then Paco Rabanne. Paco Rabanne, he designed the costumes for Jane Fonda. Yes, here we are. Jane Fonda, Barbarella, Queen of the Galaxy. Futuristic, the Spacewalk Disco production number, again, 1978. Fascination with space. Space disco costumes were inspired and constructed like famous designer Paco Rabanne's 60s dance clothes, using flat-cut mirrored plastic pieces, then soldered together to make metal rings. And here they are. These are the dresses he made. Even Audrey Hepburn wore one in her film, Two for the Road. Here's a close-up of construction of it. Just so intricate to make these, oh, hundreds of hours. And here's a design of one costume, elegant lady. This was for the disco. And here you can kind of see the mirrors on that. But just to construct this and solder it together, you don't sew this, you solder this. And here it is, one of my favorite costumes there. Oh, and here we go again. You can see all those mirrors soldered together. Again, all hand done, hundreds, thousands of hours. And the Nevada State Museum, I had this on display down there. when we were celebrating Pete Menefee. Again, Historical Society, you can see the soldered mirrors. And just more. And one of my favorites, I'm a big Neil Armstrong fan of, but he and survival training outside Reno, Nevada. John Young, Neil Armstrong, Frank Borman, like Slayton, and they're actually wearing parachutes. As we know, Neil Armstrong, July 20th, 1969. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And here's another one of my absolute favorite stories. Neil Armstrong had a speaking engagement at the Reno Hilton, former MGM Hotel. We did this opening number to bring him out on stage, featuring Pete Menefee's Hello Hollywood low costumes from Futuropolis. I'm backstage, just me and Neil Armstrong. Oh my gosh, can you believe this? I'm actually helping him with his mic and talking to him and everything. Amazing man. Anyway, Neil Armstrong. He's watching these dancers come up on stage on dancers. Neil Armstrong turns to me. This is what he says. I have been all over space. I've even walked on the moon. I've never seen that before. And he gives me a thumbs up and he took his first step on stage. It's like, yes, my hero. Yes, I still get what? Futuropolis, the underground cataclysm. Well, you always have to have a war, a space war, the barbarians and the winged sorcerer. So this is how the number ended. Winged sorcerer in the Futuropolis is when the world was coming to an end. Here's the original sketch for it. Pete Menefee, you can see down at the bottom, 1977. Whew. And here it is again. The winged sorcerer and then the male barbarians in the back. Carrying bones, yes, that was the weapons. The drawing, barbarian, male dancers, 15 costumes, and great picture, yeah. These guys had to run around on stage looking out of those little eyes. And Raquel Welch, movie 1 Million Years BC. And this costume to me looks very, very familiar, the design. I think Pete Menefee might have been inspired because, here's the barbarian costumes we wore, the bluebells. 14 costumes. Oh, yeah, and carrying the bones. That was the weapons when the world came to an end. Tiller kickline. Oops, I lost the time. I got to speed up here. Precursor to New York City Rockettes was English John Tiller. He started a precision dance line called the Tiller Kick Line. And the kick line in Hello Hollywood Low, we were the Kelly Girl High Kickers shortened to Tiller because Rockettes is a trademark name, can't be used. But here's John Tiller. And he had a 3-year contract. Oh, with who? Ziegfeld. These are the Radio City Rockettes. They're performing their Christmas show right now. I won't give that, but Russell Mark Kick was inspired by the Tiller Kick Line. He started the Rockettes. They opened in 1934. Local interest that in 1976, the Rockettes performed for the very first time outside New York City. And where? Harrah's Lake Tahoe South Shore Room. Big deal. First time ever out. That was Bill Harrah. And there they are. Well-known local. Don Dondero, Rockettes at Harrah's Tahoe. Again, first time out of New York City. Oh, Bill Harrah, yeah. And here we are, the wonderful circus world, the Kelly Girl High Kickers. Because again, we're doing a Rockette style kick line, but again, trademark, we couldn't be called that. And here's a bigger view of it. Oh my gosh. Phew. And here are the costumes. There were 40 costumes. And that actually is me in that costume, the Tiller Kick Line. MGM musicals. And I got to start speeding up here. Way too many stars in movies. MGM was the greatest movie studio of all time. Never to be duplicated. MGM best known for unsurpassed musicals. The finale of MGM Hello Hollywood Low, it was called Finale, the Big Parade, the salute to MGM musicals. Here's we have a parade ringmaster. He was the one that started it, was calling everybody out, the parade ringmaster ladies. First tribute was to Annie Get Your Gun. Here's the original stars from MGM movie and the original sketch, which are just brilliant. I mean, the Pete Menefee can design costumes and draw like this is unbelievable. Oh, and here are the dancers, or excuse me, the singers in Hello Hollywood Low, and they actually rode real horses and were singing. Annie, Get Your Gun. And here's the original one and the MGM costume next to it, the Hello Hollywood Low costume. Next one, Showboat. Showboat. If creating the legendary Ziegfeld Follies was not enough for one man, Ziegfeld's other enormous claim to fame was producing the 1927 Broadway show, Showboat. Showboat is so important and landmark that it changed the history of American musical theater, because there's everything before Showboat and then everything after, because it was the first show to have a storyline combining spectacular with seriousness. And prior to Showboat, it was just silly musicals, usually European, with no real storyline and certainly no social consciousness. So again, it was the first what's called a book musical, telling a story, and what a story. And I won't give all the details there, but going on, here's Showboat. Florenz Ziegfeld presents Showboat on Broadway. Showboat Films was filmed 3 times. The best known one, of course, is the 1951 MGM Showboat movie. And here are the drawings for MGM Circus Finale Showboat. And you can see that it's, the sunflower was the theme of the headpiece and the sleeves, and then you can see there's a sunflower on the male's top hat. And there's Showboat cakewalk costumes at the Nevada Historical Society. And here's it was called the cakewalk, one of the dancers wearing that. And oh, here's Jim Neighbors posing with the ladies backstage. And here they are dancing on stage. And here we did an exhibit. It was a big deal exhibit of the artistry of Pete Menefee down at the Las Vegas State Museum. And I had on loan this costume, and there's Pete Menefee, who designed it, standing next to the Showboat costume. 1953, Kiss Me Kate. Here's the Kiss Me Kate. These were wagons that actually had somebody driving the electric wagon, and the performers rode on the wagon. Here are the costumes, Petrucco and Kate. Then, of course, Hello Holly tribute to Ziegfeld on the Ziegfeld stage. So here we go, the great Ziegfeld. Ziegfeld Follies. And just look at, I know it's to the stars, Fred Astaire, Lucille Ball, goes, Gene Kelly, and MGM Ziegfeld Follies. And here's Lucille Ball. She was in it, and she is like the lion tamer. And this was how it was transformed, the lions in the MGM show. Instead of being black here, they were all colorful. And here, this was at UNR Art of Gaming, one of the tigers up there in the library. And here's the actual costumes. And that was a tribute to Ziegfeld. Okay, almost there. MGM 1951 or 1959. Ben-Hur, it was the remake of the 1925 silent film, and it's talked as the heralding of the start of MGM, the golden era in 1925, and then Ben-Hur at 1959. And here we go. This is the original costume from Ben-Hur. This is Ben-Hur, principal male dancer. And the principal male dancer actually had 3 horses, and he was riding a chariot. So not only did he have to know how to sing and dance, had to herd horses and ride the chariot. Here's another picture of the original costume. And Ben-Hur, 1925, Erte. I want to talk a little bit, famous designer Erte. The movie is unbelievable. Erte is one of the most talented designers ever during the Art Deco period. He flourished in all sorts of fields of fashion and graphic and set designs and costumes for film, theater, and opera. And there he is. So anything Art Deco is him. And he did the costumes again, 1925. Ben-Hur. And here was a tribute of the art of Erte featured in MGM Hello Hollywood Low. This was, again, inspired by Erte, and it says the cast member of Don Arn's Hello Hollywood Low models a costume incorporating but simplifying Erte ideas. And here is the costume. The Bandwagon. Fred Astaire, Sid Charisse, 1953. And this was kind of campy and fun that I got to wear one of these costumes and ride around here being a bell ringer. And here they are, original costumes from Bandwagon. Super, so fun. There they are by the Biersteins. Oh, and then MGM, The Wizard of Oz, so often called one of the best or the best movies ever made. And there it is. It's Metro Goldwyn Mayer's Technicolor Triumph. And here's the Wizard of Oz wagon in the finale of Hello Hollywood Hello with the characters. And this is called the Emerald City Bluebell. There were 5 costumes, and here it is, Emerald City dress. And now for the finale, Glamour Showgirls. We're doing okay for time, huh? Got like 3 minutes. Finale, Glamorous Showgirls. There's something about the vintage glamorous showgirls. Because these were all in the finale in Hello Hollywood Hello. And look at the center one. Get an idea that the headpiece is almost as big as she is. That's one of the reasons that you had to be at least 5'8" to even audition for the show. And yes, they measured you with no heels, hair, against the wall there. You had to stand to be 5'8" to be in the show. They preferred, and I was, again, as a dancer in the show, and I'm 5'8", more information is needed, but they preferred the showgirls to be 5'10" or 6 feet tall to carry these costumes. Look how big they are. And here's more costumes, again, from the finale, a little bit smaller ones. And then I have to show this because it's one thing for the costumes to look great from the front. They have to look that great from the back, because you were, 360 degrees, you're dancing and moving. So it's, you're the front, you got to see that. And then when you turn the back, look at the work. And this is all handcrafted, hand sewn, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. Yeah. And just to know how to do that. And that's what, And then, oh, here we are. The finale is, there we have it. And we talked about on the top is the space disco, the 2 with the mirrors there. And then the Tiller costume. And then the gold one is from the parade, and then the Nob Hill, then a showgirl, and then the rhinestone dresses, and then another finale one there. So anyway, boom, boom. Neil is helping me change this. Oh, hi, we're on. Cheers.
Well, that was awesome, Karen. And
Thank you.
yeah, I'm so glad that you were able to show all the amazing parts to the show and what the costumes represent, because it's such an important show, and that it was in Reno for the time. So can you tell me how long did a performance last for the show? You said that you guys performed it twice a day. What was it, like 2-3 hours?
Well,
I wasn't here at the time.
Originally, I wasn't in the original show. I came in the show after it'd been running about almost a year and a half. And so that's when you talk to like original cast members. Oh my gosh, the stories they can tell. Oh, amazing. And again, a lot of it legendary, whether it really happened, but supposedly the show originally ran for 2 hours. And even though it was fabulous, wonderful, great, it was too long. They shortened it to an hour and a half. And then I'll go in the corporate world, because in casinos and all that, they want to get the people in and out. They want to get them on the gaming tables, because that's where you're making the money. And a lot of Broadway shows that would come and, perform here in the area, they would actually shorten them, if they were 2 or 3 hour shows. Oh, no, an hour and a half. That was kind of the standard for all the shows. Because again, I won't say what it is, but for the casinos to make money, they got to have people out in the showroom. I mean, out of the showroom in the casino floor. So anyway, I got all excited there. Did I answer the question? So again, it was an hour and a half show.
Okay.
And it ran like clockwork. And
Okay.
the first show was a dinner show at 8 o'clock. And I don't know exactly, I think the doors opened an hour or an hour and a half before, because full-on dinner service was served. Unbelievable. Full-on dinner. And then there was about a 2-hour break. And the second show was at midnight, and it was just cocktails served. And so we walked out of this theater about 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning. We got there at 6. Between 6 o'clock was when we had to check in. And so it was 6 p.m. to 2 a.m. And again, show ran 7 nights a week. And as dancers, we worked 6 nights a week, and we got 1 day off. And there was what was called a swing dancer that Monday night, she was Karen. Tuesday night, she was Jill. Wednesday night, she was Lisa. She knew the spots. And so that's the only way we got days off. When I worked at Harrah's Lake Tahoe, we worked 6 nights a week, 13 shows a week. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know we've talked, of course, in the past and about the show itself. Now you were talking about the height requirements, but then the distinction for the tall nudes, they had to be what, 5'9", 5'10", to be able to then be topless. What were some of the requirements
Well,
for
we
those?
all had to be 5'8". That was
Okay.
like the minimum. And again, they had it kind of like Ziegfeld, they had a mark on the wall, 5'8", that you had to stand, take the heels off and stand, okay, before you could even audition.
Okay.
They had that. And I always want to clarify because, yeah, it was called, quote, tall nudes, where people go, oh, nudes. No, they were just didn't have tops on. And out of, the 1,392 costumes, probably there was only a couple hundred that the girls were actually topless. And it was not a sexualization at all. It was the European Art Deco celebrating the human body. It's like, even if you go to any churches or art museums or Art Deco, people are sometimes, undressed, but again, it's celebrating the human body. And I always want to make that reference because it wasn't sexualized at all. They just paraded around looking absolutely gorgeous, with the costumes. And so with the showgirls, they really preferred them to be, because of being gorgeous and presenting these, costumes and stuff. 5'10", they preferred that, and 6 foot, they were really happy.
And didn't they have to wear, some of those women there towards the back with the big headdresses on some of them, or different parts of the show? And I think this is a little interesting story that you should mention, is because the weight you mentioned with the headpieces, but then you were saying how they needed to be 360, so like those beautiful feather, well, they were kind of like backpacks, weren't they? And
they
how
actually
did
were called backpacks, yes.
Yeah, and how did they store them? I think it's an interesting story.
Yeah, these back pieces, and I still kind of laugh about that when people go, oh, we want you to do meet and greet and have a couple of showgirls in the big, Las Vegas, the huge costumes. Yeah, I have them. Yeah, do meet and greet for 2 hours. No, the costumes were made to be worn less than 10 minutes from the moment they were put on the girls. They walked across stage and they came out, because some of them weighed over 100 pounds. And the headpieces were like, a lot of girls have back and neck problems now because of how heavy the headpieces were. And so the headpieces were so big, they actually were flown on rails backstage in Hello Hollywood Low. And so they were flown on rails. They would lower the rails with the headpieces and back pieces on them. There would be a dresser. You had to have a dresser. There's no way you're getting in these by yourself. They would lift that backpack up. They put it on the back of the lady's back, put it on, headpiece, put it on, strap it in, make sure it's all, all set up. And the girl's all ready to go. And then she walked out, you're not carrying these big headpieces. And again, they're very, very uncomfortable. And you just know that you can stand the pain for the 10 minutes you wore them. Another reason I was glad I wasn't a showgirl. I didn't want to, painful, even though they looked fabulous, fabulous, fabulous.
Well, I know one time you had me even try on one of the headpieces. And I was like, oh my gosh, you can totally see how you have to keep your head still and move a certain way. It's,
Oh, yeah, there's, and we laugh because that was one of the smaller ones you put on. Yeah, you didn't have the big ones. It was a small one. Everybody goes, what? And again, that's why, well, the famous Lucille Ball, now I'm really aging myself, when she was on the staircase wearing a headpiece and looked down and she goes down the stairs, because they're so heavy. No, you don't drop your head. You got to keep the chin up and looking out and balancing, all about balance.
Oh, absolutely. So there's a question from somebody that they said, for the famous stars who were in Hello Hollywood Hello, how many shows did they do? Did it kind of depend on the performer? What their, maybe they were for a few months? Do you know?
No, the stars had to do 2 shows.
Oh, okay.
They were the star of the show, and they actually they would arrive on the airplane, like I said, with the McGuire sisters, costume and all that. That's how they'd be presented. They actually would ride the airplane out and then come out and be introduced and maybe do a song or something. Because again, I wasn't there at the time, because they were changing the show up to make it, draw more people, like putting a star in it, which actually was pretty brilliant. So they would arrive in the airplane, and then they cut the, and I have to look here, what act was it? It was the circus act. The Wonderful Circus World, Act 7 in the show. I always have to look at a program to remember that it actually, then they were featured, that it was all about them, you know, whoever the star was. That was like their featured act in it. And then they usually came out, and again, I'm sure when some of my MGM, you know, friends will say, Karen, you have that wrong. I don't know exactly how long they performed. I think it was 20 minutes to half an hour. And again, someone will correct me on this, that it was all about the star. And they had dancers around them and all that, but it was all new. It was based on the star. New costumes were created, and music and choreography. Because of course, if it's Jim Nabors or Carol Channing, it's going to be different, Suzanne Summers. And then they usually would make another appearance at the very end. But it was kind of like, you know, in the old days, working with Bill Hara and all that, the stars performed 7 nights a week, 2 shows a night for their contract. That was a given. And so in Hello Hollywood Low, they actually did change it to 6 nights a week. I think it was Monday night. Then there was no show later on. It opened with seven nights a week, but then later on was 6. And with the stars, it was 6. So did that answer?
Yeah, because then, you know, I know that I've seen, you know, the different programs as the different stars were kind of the features. So yeah, that answers the question. I do have another question, and we've talked a little bit about this, about, you know, the costumes. You know, there were so many people that helped repair the costumes on a nightly basis. Since taking over the collections, I mean, how didn't you had to kind of learn, you know, because it's an active collection you use for for programs and exhibits. I know some pieces like the crystals, you know, you can't go out to the store and pick up something. So was that kind of a learning curve in some ways? I mean, or, you know, did you have to adapt to kind of figure out what you needed to do? I was just kind of curious, because it's an interesting part of, you know, maintaining and caring for the collection, as well as, you know, using it, you know.
Well, that could be a half an hour answer, but I'll try to. And that, first off, I know how to sew. I was raised by a German mother, and I had to make all my own clothes, you know, go and make the money, buy the material, learn how to, and had to make my own clothes to go to high school. I was teased a lot because it was not cool back then, you know, to have handmade clothes. But I thank her in that because I know how to sew.
Oh, yeah.
But when I was really busy and doing, you know, have 2 or 3 seamstresses, and actually one of them, hi Loretta, she opened and closed the show. She's helping me now. And then Gabrielle Stephen Chase and Perry Ann, who you met, they all worked officially in the show. And I love having these ladies because they knew the costumes, they knew how to repair them, they knew to sew them. Oh, because it's a whole learning curve. And so thank goodness they were there, that I would do some of it, but to have the real pros that actually worked on the costume. And like the rhinestones and stuff, they don't make the quality rhinestones anymore. They're unavailable, you know? Yeah. And I always tell the dancers, if the Swarovski rhinestone bracelet drops off, you stop and you pick it up. Yeah. You don't leave it on the floor and keep dancing. No, you pick up. You know? But it is a learning curve. Pardon me?
No.
Oh,
I wanted the question too.
Okay. But anyway, to put that is to have professionals. And still, when I walk into my warehouse, I go, these costumes, because it's a whole, I have such respect. I look at the quality of these costumes, and I still, after owning them and dancing and owning, such respect, going, the talent that it took to make this, you know. And again, I can sew, but I can't sew them, you know. I can't take credit for any of these, you know. I didn't make and design one of these. I'm just trying to, you know, keep them, because again, I can't say enough how brilliant these people are and talented. And it wasn't me. I'm just trying to save them.
No, they truly are amazing. And, you know, just, you know, how just the detail work, and it just all of it. And so I was so glad that you really spent some time talking about the amazing, you know,
well, one thing to jump in there, This
Yeah.
is why the next time we do it, live, is because when I roll in with those rack of costumes, no matter where I am, at TCM, the college stuff, people's mouths just, what? And that they actually can come up and look at it, because it's like handheld history.
Yep.
And that's where I just love, people just go nuts, and Neil's sitting here going too, that they actually can look at it, the work of it, and the stitching and the rhinestones and all that. That's the only thing that I miss here, that I wish I could be holding up a costume right now and showing the work on it, all hand done, all hand seamed, because it's like, I have no idea the talent, Anyway, Neil has a question.
Well, that's not a question. She's got a wonderful, wonderful story of needing to learn how to dance. And I wish that you would tell us that story.
Of how I got into dancing?
Yeah.
Do we have time?
You're going to make time. We got it. Yeah.
Okay, just take a deep breath real quickly. My family moved here when I was 3. My dad sold Electrolux vacuum cleaners door to door. Thank you, Dad. And my mom was a professional skier, started Sky Tavern. So that's why I wanted to be here. So I was a skier. Started at 3, Sky Tavern. Later became on the junior ski patrol. It was a big deal. Was one of the first women to do that. And then I became a certified ski instructor, passing the test. And I was teaching at Mount Rose, Slide Mountain, Alpine Meadows. That was my passion. Freestyle skiing, for those that are old enough to remember, almost went to the Olympics. Bob Howard and a few others, Neil Spina, they tried to get freestyle skiing in the Olympics. Well, Oh my gosh, dancing on skis. Well, I got to do that. I got to go on the freestyle ski circuit. So at 20 years old, I walk into Maggie Banks, Margaret Banks, who starred Nevada Festival Ballet. She's a big, 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 big deal. Bill Hara brought her in to do the chorus lines at Harrah's Reno, Harrah's Tahoe. She worked with Gene Kelly, Marilyn Monroe. The biggest thing, she assisted Jerome Robbins in West Side Story. That's how big a deal Maggie Banks was. She's sitting in her office. I have no clue who she is. I just heard, oh, go take some dance lessons. I walk into her office. Hi, my name's Karen. I want to take dance classes. She gives me up and down look. She goes, how old are you? I just had my 20th birthday. You're too old to start ballet dancing. You can't be in my class. Later on, we became best friends, and she denied that she ever said that. Yeah. And so that's how I started. And I went from being a freestyle dancer to 4 years later being in Hello Hollywood Hello. Have no idea how that happened. And again, because I graduated from UNR as a English, German, physical education major with my teaching credentials. I should be a tenured English professor, but life took a detour.
A detour. Okay, that's such a great story. I wanted.
Thank you for letting me share. It's like, I feel it's a little too too much personal information for people, but it's like,
how in the world would you get started otherwise?
The thing is, when I lecture at schools and stuff, sometimes I will tell a little bit of that, just because you never know the path life's going to take you. You think, oh, set, I'm going to teach, I'm going to do this and that, and now I'm doing this. What? But again, I still teach. It's in my passion. That's my favorite thing to do.
The time.
There we go. Yeah. So yeah, I'm renewing my teaching credentials. I'm going back, and I teach and work with all the schools. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I do have
put
one
that
more
plug in there.
Well, I have another question here. Are there any of your costumes currently on display? And is there a way to find out when they will be on display or on exhibit?
Well, as with everybody, COVID, we're supposed to do an exhibit, and then that changed. There's just that one costume, the Kiss, inspiration costume, that's at the Brewery Arts Center now with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And I think that's only the next month or so. But we'll have to talk, Miss Sherry, because 45th anniversary is coming up, and I would love to have a display because, as you know, people love seeing it up close and personal. And if we do have a display, of course, it will be, advertised and all that. But
exactly.
That's a project to work on. I'm looking at you, right?
Okay. And I'm overseeing exhibits again. So there you go. But no, this was amazing. And just, I'm so glad you were able to really showcase the costumes. And there's just so much with the show and so many costumes. It's amazing. And you've been such a wonderful steward to help preserve and share the story.
I appreciate that, because again, the whole thing is costumes and clothes tell stories,
Absolutely.
And I just appreciate that because again, I didn't make one of these. I have no, connection with that. But just the stories. I could go on for hours and hours.
Well, and what's interesting too is anytime we've done displays of costumes, quilts, those are the biggest draws because those are things people wear, they're intimate, those are things people can relate to or get excited about. So, I know we had such amazing attendance when we did the Hello Hollywood Hello show back in 2011. So it was amazing.
I do have to jump in real quickly then because you're just about personal. Debbie Reynolds, she's trying to save the costumes. I had done a fashion show with Edith Head's costumes, wearing original costumes from Shirley MacLaine and Juliet Proud. Anyway, so I said to Debbie Reynolds, I said, to help raise money, and this is me talking to Miss Reynolds, I said, to help raise money to help save your the MGM collection. Have you thought about doing fashion shows, which this Edith Head, famous designer, was, of wearing the costumes and raising money? Miss Reynolds, and she wasn't mad at me, but she was doing this. She goes, no, never. Costumes and the clothes are the most personal thing someone has. It actually touches the person's skin. And I still get a chill. She says, the last skin to touch this costume for the celebrity is the last skin that will ever be in the costume. Woohoo! That's Miss Reynolds. That's Miss Debbie Reynolds. Because just what you said, it's the most personal thing we have. Oh, we're wearing it.
Well, and those pieces are so iconic, like you were showing some of the pieces. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah,
I
Judy,
think that adds to the value and the story of it as well. So thank you. I appreciate it, Karen. Is all.
But I can talk for a couple more hours. Don't we have time? And that's what it's always like. Okay, crazy costume lady, bring it down. We're done. I own it.
No, we appreciate it. And it was such a lovely program. And thank you so much. So thank you, everybody, for attending. And as always, we appreciate you coming and joining us today for our high noon. So let me send it back to Samantha with the Washoe County Libraries. And thank you, as always, for helping us promote our programming.
I have to use my Auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Sherry Hayes-Zorn and Neil Cobb and Karen Burns with the Nevada Historical Society, and John, our Washoe County Library Tech Wizard, for making this event possible today. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.